once again, we have Best Western versus OTKU Hideout. My player to watch in this matchup would be Obscure Breads because I think he's going to make the biggest impact in the game. What are your thoughts, Brickbat?
I definitely agree. I think Breads, out of all the players on this match, has been kind of the most established here in our high level scene. I think actually at one point, I feel like there was a bit of contesting between who was the best Western goalie between him and Gumi. I feel like nowadays most people would pretty confidently say Gumi, but let's not discount Obscure Breads as we get into the match. And so another player I think I'd like to watch is actually Zenith. Kind of a sleeper midfielder pick, I think, for a lot of people who he didn't get like a super big name for himself in the beta, but I definitely like to see him in action here for his first game here in NASL.
Yeah, and it does look like we're going to get into it. Julian expands. So, what type of brawler are we picking? I guess the answer for that probably Rasmus, considering it's
Yeah,
Amy's app.
that would make a bit of sense. Alpha Kiwi electing into the Estelle. I actually wonder what his character pool is looking like nowadays. I know that every time I saw him in ladder, he was always using Amy, so I'm wondering what he has cooking nowadays.
As we do get our era jump scare. Um, I'm looking at Best Western, and I'm seeing a not so, normal goalie. Drakkar. I know people say he's good, but on Amy's app, is that the
Yeah,
map you pick him on, Brickbat?
not too sure. I feel like even picks like Rune that like kind of naturally synergize with a goalie barrier would be pretty good. But yeah, I'm definitely not. I don't feel Drakkar too much on the Amy's app. I feel like a lot of his strengths with like the blast shotgun blast could definitely help him out, but it's not something to write home about, especially when you don't have to worry about like two goalie gates or defending kind of a smaller area of the map.
Yeah, and something really interesting before we do fully get into this match, Cast the Last and Spark of Resilience starting. So, if you look at Otaku Hideout, opting not to pick an arrow. So maybe that'll be something that will tilt the course of this match.
Nope.
As Best Jelly and Alpha Kiwi combining together, oh my god, they have taken Miragen off the board, and they have also taken Zenith off the board, and Alpha Kiwi puts this one in with that piercing shot.
Yeah, and I think
that was a sequence.
yeah, I mean, we were talking about before. These guys know each other. They have been breathing the same air for roughly 36 years in Omega Strikers competitive history terms. So they've definitely got that synergy going on. I think as we get into the second round, definitely Miragen and Zenith not the best starting thing for an unrated team here.
Yeah, and especially when you consider they have the advantage, especially with the era, as Marco. Sorry, not Marco. Mark
XO with
lots
love.
of love, lots of love. Very specifically, as Best Jelly uses that eject button, sends him into Alpha Kiwi, and then off the map with that piercing shot. And dear God, they are racking up kills left and right. Is it the Luna that's doing it, or is it just a combination of both? Who knows at this point? But oh my God, Zenith, showing us why Rasmus has played on this map, using that death touch and picking up a kill for himself as Best Jelly here in this corner, trying to win some of these 50s as Mark gets that one back up to Alpha Kiwi, and Alpha Kiwi using all of his abilities on Zenith, not able to get him though, as Zenith does have enough bar to evade as Mark almost gets Zenith, but manages to get both barriers, his own and the other team's, as it comes back to Obscure Breads. Obscure Breads, whoa! We're shooting for the roses with that one.
Yeah, definitely another victim of the strike shot confidence. You kind of send it out and miss, and you don't have the cooldown to catch it again. Absolutely a bane of many a goalie's existence.
Yeah, especially when you're playing something like Drakkar, you do take that strike shot just because it's that extra kind of safety net. Is Zenith managing to pick up another kill onto Alpha Kiwi in this midfield with that death touch, as Obscure Bread's gonna come super far forward, enough to drop the Molten Bolt onto Mark, as Miragent gonna get this barrier with a basic strike. Obscure Breads now has the core flip. Mark also having the core flip, popping it for, I'm not entirely too sure what. Maybe he thought he was going to die, but Alpha Kibi pushing this one forward, and Best Jelly, he wants to fly and flies into the enemy net while he gets scored on in his own.
Yeah, just unfortunate if you get caught out in that Luna dash animation right when it comes to your net. It is curtains, unfortunately.
Curtains indeed, as Mark gonna fight on this top side. Really just trying to get this core forward, and Obscure Breads missing the core flip, getting a little nervous maybe, as Miragent popping the core flip to send it onto the bottom, barely missing the barrier, as Zenith now in a prime position to maybe get picked off by Alpha Kibi, and there it is, as Alpha Kibi using that Rose Warp in place, managing to get him off the map. Miragent low himself, now needs to be really careful, especially with someone like Marco, able to use the Death Touch to knock him off the map. Gonna use the primary there, does have the Death Touch from what I understand, and might be looking to pick up that kill, as Kelly doing a great job. I believe it was Alpha Kibi who killed him on that bottom side of the map, as this one, oh my god, Mark using that primary pendulum swing, as we were talking about before with those dance moves. Alpha Kibi getting a little too excited, going a little too far forward, forgetting he needs the core. Mark picking up another kill with the pendulum swing, doing a little dance move, you know, ends the first round.
Yeah, and there we have it. Mark XO with lots of love coming into this first draft. An extra special immediately on the table, but it looks like he's hovering built different. Interesting. Oh no, nope. Yeah, chooses to stop. The extra special is super strong on Erasmus with the off the kickoff hook when people are often most vulnerable for it. Also a really good pickup for Best Jelly with the Deadeye, and it looks like OTKU Hideout is about to just start flipping the switch on murder. We'll see as we get into the next set, but I'm a little. If I were Zenith and Miragent, I'd be sweating a little bit.
Sweating indeed, but you know what, Miragent, hey, maybe he's able to cook a little more now. Opting to take the slit. I didn't notice this, but he has slit kicks. What are your thoughts on that, Brickbat?
Okay, I am obviously a bit in the minority, but I'm a huge slit kicks proponent, especially on Era. I think that you could do so much, especially in I will say it's weaker in a competitive environment where people are coordinated and you have to worry about rotations more, but if you're playing Era and solo queue and you want to hang near like the goalie line, slit kicks will help you a lot. It won't help you if you get punted into the apple like that, but I think it's super useful. I find it personally very fun.
Yeah, OTKU Hideout using this Luna goalie to their advantage, as everyone on the team has been contributing. Best Jelly has gotten kills, Mark has gotten kills, Alpha Kibi has gotten kills. They are living to farm Best Western as much as possible here, as Best Jelly almost getting a kill onto Zenith using that Luna dash, trying to, you know, get some value out of that eject button, as the Bomba drops forward and manages to kill Zenith. As Best Jelly just barely misses that one as it goes behind his net, and Mark using the core flip, 50-50 for Obscure Breads, with Best Jelly coming in. Just didn't guess right.
Yeah, and Best Jelly is actually using so many of his cooldowns just for damage. I mean, we've seen him multiple times. This was actually, I noticed this is kind of being different from a lot of ejecting this. He's using his spacebar just to get like poke damage on. He really wants to kill people.
Yeah, he is really just fiending to get this damage, and look at that. He pops, you know, he pops the eject button, and oh my god, Alpha Kibi using the Rose Warp in place, and then the Crystal Thorns to essentially lock Obscure Breads down, and really nothing Obscure Breads can do there. Maybe he has to tank the knives and pray that the core is going to be behind him, but wow. And oh my god, Mark getting the barrier off rip with the Death Touch, hitting it into the center hole, and then it bounced right into the barrier. Best Jelly actually can kind of cook here. Does have the core flip. Not too much, but Obscure Breads using that strike shot into the lock and load to send Mark into the center hole. This Best Jelly still, once again, does have the core flip if he so desires, is going to get hit with a Bewitching Beam by Miragent. Miragent in this corner, Best Jelly popping the core flip, not able to reach the core though, as Zenith now with Miragent able to get this barrier. Zenith on this bottom side, but Mirajin almost dying, is going to have the Stagger Swagger now, but it doesn't matter as Mark using that Pendulum Sim once again. I can't even begin to imagine how many kills Mark and Alpha QB have so far in this match combined, as I feel like I have seen one of the best Western, as speak of the devil, Mark picking up another one with this death touch. Who let this guy cook, because he is sending us a full 3-course meal with dessert right now, using that death touch once again to try and get this core forward and just shove it past while he can. Obscure Breads does have the core flip here, as Best Jelly using the whammy over and over, and Mirajin, ankle breaker, bottom of the net. Big point for his team, and hopefully the start of some sort of comeback.
Yeah, and we saw there a little bit, actually, the power of slick kicks back when Mirajin literally just basically stood in Best Jelly's goal net and dribbled around for a little bit, using the move speed of slick kicks to get like really nice positions to strike it from. I think that a lot of people underestimate that power, especially on Era. But I like to play a very, I guess, heavy Era in sitting there and trying to do something, a bit of an Oki Era, I guess. That a bit weird, but I think especially on Amy's app, where you really don't want to be transitioning over too much from the midline because of Threat of Death, Slick Kicks has a lot of value here.
Well, Slick Kicks can get you value, but oh my god, speaking of Slick Kicks value, Mirajin able to get far enough with the addition of Stagger Swagger. Bewitching Beam, that core right past Best Jelly, and even though they're picking up the kills, this round is currently tied.
Yeah, it's actually all of a sudden tied, and Marco just gets sent into the apple.
As Zenith pulling Mark into the center hole, as Best Jelly going to hit this one down with the core flip. Obscure Bread's going to use that strike shot, and man, that was long strike shot range. I have no clue what his awakenings are, but dear God, I feel like that went half the map. Mirajin does get the value of Stagger Swagger here, almost pushes it forward with that Bewitching Beam. Is going to have to run back, and Mark, look at him, he's hunting for the kill, but Mirajin's hunting for the core. Bit of a miscommunication there, as Mirajin hits that one into the top, and a round that I thought they were going to lose turns out to be a big win. Stagger Swagger not being picked up might have been a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. And into third draft here, a lot of really good picks for Jakar, opting into the Stinger, but Heavy Impact, Hot Shot, Stacks, all also really good picks. I think that definitely Stinger is a really good damage pick on Jakar, especially since people are flying off the table here. Having that extra stagger basically up all the time is really, really nice. Of course, we see Best Jelly opting into Heavy Impact, and Estelle opting into Hot Shot. It looks like they're looking to have their cooldowns reduced, which means more damage.
Yeah, and Mirajin is in a great place now. He has Castellast, Stagger Swagger, and Unstoppable. So he no longer has to worry about the, Rasmus Death Touch. He can sit wherever he wants, but who does have to worry about it? Mark, as Zenith puts one on him with that Death Touch, and then a little bit of whiplash action to send that one into the top of the net and pick up the first point for what was looking like a really scary game for them, and now they're ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Best Western got their wake-up call from the desk, finally able to start playing after getting past some morning sickness here, I suppose. Maybe a bit of growing pains, but it looks like Mirajin with his trainings are online, able to play super aggressive in these plays.
Yeah, and Zenith picking up 2 kills that round, and then using that pendulum swing to shove Best Jelly into the net, resetting all of his bar. Now he has to start from scratch, and Mark really needs to start dodging these death touches.
Yeah, it's being rough. I mean, a bit of a we've all seen Snow White. We all know the dangers of apples that you are not prepared for. Just Rasmus is he's really good on this map. No, very good.
Yeah, and speaking of dodging the death touch, Zenith getting another one there, as he was the full recipient of all of the ones from Mark, and now Mark and his team being on the other end of them, getting absolutely cooked. By the way, Infinite Unstoppable, if we're not going to dodge the death touches, you might as well pick it up, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think so many players think about like, oh, it's a noob trap, I won't get caught out, and then you just look at games like these, I mean, top players, right, of the league, dying on repeat to the Rasmus thing.
Whoa, Garfield moment.
Bit of a
Obscure Bread's having the core flip. Forgot to hit the button. Maybe thought he would get that one with the strike. Doesn't come through, but a really big pickup. And man, I don't know if it's because I haven't looked at Death Touch in a while, but that thing looks weird when it's rotating.
Yeah, it's like just like this spinning chakra thing. I don't even know what to describe. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. Yeah.
Speaking of the Death Touch, Mark, XO, lots of love.
Lots of love.
Lots of love. Gotta be very specific.
Really have to.
I really gotta emphasize it. Getting another kill with that Death Touch, and then Best Jelly dropping the nuke onto Obscure Breads and Mirrorgent, and Mark almost falling victim to the Death Touch himself, as Mirrorgent with a not fully formed Magic Maelstrom is able to get that barrier, doing a great job of using it to kind of win a strike, whereas Best Jelly here is in kind of a precarious situation, but Zenith, Alpha Kibi is doing a great job of playing this midfield, as Mark trying to get the core to himself in the center part of it. As Zenith now needs to win one of these 50s. Doesn't matter, as he's gonna actually shove Mark into the hole once again. And now they have this huge advantage here, as Zenith hit it directly into Best Jelly. Best Jelly gotta get smalled, and Mirrorgent with that bewitching beam is going to hit that one into the back of the net.
Yeah, and just like that, set 3 is completed in the favor of Best Western. Zenith here actually getting first pick now.
Whoa, specialized training, jump scare.
Jump scare, as for those who are unaware, it does increase the knockback, which means that Rasmus Pull can basically yoink you from so many more places. You could be hugging the wall, and it will probably, it won't get you if you're hugging the wall, but if you're hugging the wall, you've got other problems. So it definitely creates a lot more pressure, especially because Marco and Alpha Kibi did not opt into that unstoppable from earlier, so it's coming around to bite them a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Deadeye left up, as Best Jelly did pick it up earlier. Mark, once again, XO, lots of love, opting instead to pick up that extra special, and I believe there was a Bomba. Zenith going into that center hole. Best Jelly almost loses his barrier, as Obscure Bread's throwing that Molten Bolt, trying just to, get something through, stall for time, as Zenith now back on the board. And my god, these Death Touches are really getting cooked, but you know who's getting cooked on the other end? Best Jelly. Mirrorgent with the slick kicks is really showing why it could be a thing on Era. It is now losing to Mark. Mark doing a great job of winning these 50s in this midfield. Does have the pressure here on Obscure Breads. Best Jelly. Oh my god! Whoa! That Molten Bolt was from his net, and it went all the way over to the other side. What was that? I have never seen a Molten Bolt go that far, but I guess it's a combined thing of a strike shot plus whatever he has, but I'm not entirely sure right now. I'm sure we can find out after this goal almost gets scored. Mark and Obscure Breads popping their core flips respectively, as Mirrorgent with a great angle here. The bomb are going to come through. Best Jelly does have his core flip. He thinks things are getting crazy, but isn't going to use it, as I would love to see what Jakar has.
Yeah, I believe he has aerials, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see, maybe. But definitely had to have, oh, missile propulsion and aerials. I see. Yeah, that thing. He's got some ICBMs packing in his shotgun right now with the length of these shots. Jesus.
That missile propulsion, aerials plus strike shot. Oh, I looked away, and all of a sudden the entire team of OTKU Hideout is dead. Mirrorgent and Zenith now in a great position. Mirrorgent just missing the pass a little bit, and Zenith hitting it back into Mark. We got it here, and Zenith pendulum swings that one into the bottom of the net. And my god, Obscure Breads, his lock and load has to go like way too far. He definitely probably has like almost best in slot for Drek now in this goaltender position.
Yeah, absolutely. He's traded in his video game shotgun for just realistic, accurate 100 meters shot, real shotgun. My god, look at that. It actually, like, it's half the field on his right click. Jesus.
Yeah, and especially when you're playing the Jakar, as Zenith in the middle of everyone ends the game.
Whoa.
That was crazy. Pops the core flip, 3 people there. No one catches it and hits it off the top part of the net, and it bounces back into it. And we got ourselves our first game in one that I thought OTKU Hideout had a great start, but man, look at these KOs.
Yeah, 11 KOs coming out from Zenith and Mark XO. Lots of love, emphasis on lots of love. I mean, yeah, Rasmus on Amy's app. If you're not ready for it, if you don't pick that unstoppable, if you don't get those defenses up and running, he will take over the game, and it comes down to kind of who could play around it better. And it was definitely Mark at the beginning of the game, but definitely Zenith woke up essentially, and him and Miragent were able to secure a lot of goals. I think, again, before we move on to the next game, I do want to emphasize the use of split kicks here on Amy's app. I believe that Miragent made a lot of plays with that extra movement speed to be able to keep that pressure up without having to cross the midfield line, and I think that's super, super important here.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the fact that he was able to roll the stagger swagger with it too. It gives him so much movement speed when you think of the fact that, you know, you're playing against Luna, Estelle, Rasmus, you're going to lose a lot of your health, and being able to run around the map and then picking up the unstoppable too. I mean, you're a tank on the field. You're not dying to really anything outside of stagger related reasons. And even then, you have the stagger swagger to move as far as you want away from the danger.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that from Miragent basically just playing as a bit of a strike bot in their faces, and not much able to really be done by the side of Mark XO. Lots of love, emphasis on lots of love, and Alpha Kibi. I mean, yeah, there's really good drafting from the side of Best Western.
Yeah, and something, once again, that looked really, really dangerous at the start. They were kind of finding their footing, and as the course of the game went on, Mark really started to get hit by a lot of Zenith's death touch. Maybe Zenith not so comfortable on the Rasmus, maybe needed some time to work it out, but definitely found his footing as he was able to use it to his advantage, start smacking people off the map left and right, and eventually culminated into a big first game pickup for his team. And now, if you are Otaku Hideout, you're a little nervous. You feel a little down after that first game, but I think that they can pull it together and, you know, bring us back to this second match. Any changes you think that might come through from their team, Brickbat?
Yeah, I believe the last game did see a double brawler ban, the Juliet and the X, and I'm wondering if that's going to be transitioned into game two. One thing that I think we all thought was that Miragent was going to be the forward kind of brawler player, but we actually saw him pick up the era there with Zenith actually playing that kind of scorer role on Rasmus. So I think that's actually something kind of unique about Best Western, if they're willing to flex between who's forward and who's midfield based off of what characters are available and what map that is. That's a huge advantage going into kind of the sort of random nature of the maps and drafts and all of that. Having that flexible composition is a huge advantage.
Yeah, and being flexible is especially huge in a competitive environment where you're able to pick kind of really whatever you see fit, especially when you think about the fact that we are rolling RNG awakenings for starting infinites, all of the above. So being able to pick a great starting team comp off of the starting awakening and having people who play the characters who might get value out of it is heavily important
Yeah.
for you know, the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agreed. And I'm wondering if we will see the continuation of the two brawler bands going into game two, or if we'll get to see Mark XO, lots of love, emphasis on lots of love, on his like signature Juliet, one of the few people that actually played that admittedly kind of troll speed Juliet build at the beta with the stacks of stacks crossover unstoppable, one of the few people who kind of held down on it. So he's got, I would say, kind of a signature Juliet pick that maybe Best Western might have been a little worried about. I'm not sure. I can't remember if Utaku Hideout was the one to ban Juliet or not. But hopefully we'll be able to get to see the Miragent Mark XO, lots of love, emphasis on lots of love matchup going into game two.
Yeah, it really will be our kind of idea of what to watch on how the match will play out, and it will definitely start from the ban phase, and maybe even from the map phase. You know, maybe you don't want to play Luna on something like Demon Deus. I don't know Best Jelly. I haven't played against him, and from what I understand, a decently long time. So he could have 20 million picks. I don't know. They might
Yeah.
have some crazy, ridiculous comp that they could pull out, depending on what map it is. But who knows? Maybe we'll just coin flip into Amy's app again.
Yeah, maybe. And I'd definitely say that like the Estelle Rasmus and the Era Rasmus is something that is a lot less strong off of Amy's app, so maybe either team will choose not to select it if we don't roll it. But if we do roll Demon Days again, I would be interested in seeing maybe a Pauldrons pick. I believe like the Asher Pauldrons, the X Pauldrons is like only really viable on Demon Days, but when it does come out, I think it could actually be really strong. X having being kind of overall a bad goalie, but being an interesting counter pick into a lot of the brawler stuffers that we might see.
Yeah, and speaking of that, so you said ex goalie, right?
Okay, X goalie, yeah.
On Demon Deus specifically.
Specifically on Demon Days, like
Okay. So
nothing else.
I ran into KFC playing that earlier.
Okay.
It was interesting because what happened is he was able to get built different and big fish, and combined with pauldrons, he was the size of if you think of Demon Deus in your head, you have the barrier, and then you have that space between the bottom and the barrier. He was the size of that space. So trying to shove it past him and hit the barrier was a little daunting considering how big he was. That is the first match I have seen an X been played on Demon Deus, but I could just be in the minority of seeing it. So
Yeah, I think the power of it comes kind of from like, well, like you described, from being as big as the goalie barriers, which makes kind of defending it pretty easy as long as you're winning your strike wars. But also the fact that having that extended size means you're actually poking the mosh pit while defending your barriers in the midfield, and that extra damage, of course, on such a murdery map like Demon Days will definitely help your forwards out in getting that man advantage, which you can again convert into potentially 2 barriers down or a goal. So
yeah, Pauldron gives you that little bit of everything.
yeah, definitely useful, and definitely useful specifically on Demon Days, and it's interesting because it is considered a fairly weak pick outside of that map. I'd say a lot of goalies opting into that strike shot for characters like that theoretically should be taking it, like the Dubu and the Atlas. So yeah, super interesting. Definitely, I definitely like how that map mix up how you think about your selections going in. And maybe we'll roll that and see it in action, and maybe we'll roll Night Market with the Julia era picks again. We'll see. Coming into
Yeah,
our,
night market would definitely be interesting because I mean maybe they do a double brawler ban on it, but if you're one of the teams, I would have to imagine, right? Mark and Mirajit both able to play that Juliet. I would imagine you'd want to leave it up for at least the people who play it. So who knows what type of bans we would see. I would say Julie, definitely something that I know Mark, EXO, emphasis on lots of love, big emphasis. And Mirajin, big emphasis. Mirajin have both played in the past in that forward position. And I don't know Zenith that well, but considering his Rasmus game from obviously the match we just watched, he's doing pretty well for himself. Took a little bit to get his footing, but he eventually kind of culminated and pretty much started dominating that midfield with those death touches, got some kills off the side, put a lot of pressure onto Best Jelly. And you're able to really do that as Rasmus with that whiplash and that pendulum swing in those corners, because small characters like Luna, once they hit that ball, it's really difficult to, kind of clear the ball once you've struck it once without dash.
Yeah. And I would say, of course, like the murder fest that just happened is like definitely caused by Rasmus, but I also want to talk about the Stell midfield pick coming out from Alpha Kiwi, I think contributing to a lot of the secures in there. And I'm wondering how you might rate Estelle midfield generally in the meta right now. I think a lot of people think that with her high cooldowns that she's like a little bit weak, maybe more useful on things like Oni Village where the extra stuff is super, super strong. What are your thoughts on that
I
pick?
think if you could play, I think if you could play Vice, you play Vice instead. But if Vice is gone, I think Estelle is honestly a pretty decent option. Um, I've played a bit of it. I don't think off the top of my head, I don't think I've lost a game on it. I could be completely wrong, but it is really it's really interesting because Estelle relies a lot on being able to either deal damage or get a lot of stuff picks. I think Estelle is very good on something like Oni Village, where you run into a lot of Kais, because Estelle does a great job of getting the barriers on that map, because she has her Piercing Shot, she has her Rose Warp, and she also has her Crystal Thorns, which you're able to kind of, I would say, checkmate something like a Kai, where he's only really relying on his barrage, and you once he uses the barrage, you throw it at him, you throw the knives, and he cries.
Yeah, yeah. So just as a kind of heads up of the production, we are running into a loading bug going into our last game of day one of the NASL. We appreciate the patience, but hopefully we'll be getting into that game soon. But yeah, going back to actually, you compared Estelle to Vice. Actually, as I'm assuming right now you kind of evaluate her as just a worse version of Vice. Is that what your thoughts are right now?
It's interesting, right? Because you have Estelle, you have Vice. Both, I wouldn't say they both do the same type of thing, but they both kind of play the same way. In the fact that Vice, you kind of sit towards where you would on Estelle, and you use your primary, and your secondary is kind of like the go-in that like Rose Warp is. And but I think the thing with Vice is that she has a lot less abilities to keep the ball forward, and instead it relies more on you getting yourself in there to keep it forward, compared to Estelle, where you once again you have all of your abilities that are mainly you're able to throw from being in place. And it does like we have beat the loading bug allegations, and we are in the match. And Night Market, here it is, but Julie Band coming out.
Whoa, and no ban from the side of Best Western. I think they just forgot. I don't know if there was anything related to that. They might have just missed it, but yeah, I guess looks like we're seeing the X mirror. Maybe it was a big brain play to force the X mirror because they expected Otaku Hideout to ban Juliet, so they feel more confident on the X era mirror. Maybe, not too sure. Maybe it's a big brain strategy. Maybe they forgot.
Yeah, and it does look like possibly gonna get a. Ooh, okay. So Amy versus Era. What are our thoughts on this in terms of the midfield here?
Well, I think right now, I think Era is generally the stronger character, especially if you're doing an X matchup where the X's are going to be wailing on each other, where it's easy to hit both your friendly forward and your enemy forward, which means that your X gets a pretty big advantage. That being said, Alpha Kibi on the Amy, kind of his biggest pick, might be able to just win outright through comfort. And, the extra damage that Amy provides with his turret is not to be underestimated either. And, look at that. We're already seeing Mark XO, lots of love, emphasis on lots of love, actually get a huge stagger advantage for himself, allowing Alpha Kibi to do what Amy midfield is really good at, confirming kills.
Yeah, and something I've noted as to why, the entire side of Best Western is dead. This was an infinite stinger start as Alpha Gibi links Obscure Breads into the net and manages to pick up a kill for himself and the goal, getting our first point on the board. It was stinger start, and picking Era with this stinger means that Alpha Kibi, who decided to go Pummeler Stinger on this Amy, is going to get a lot more damage than you would from something like the Era. So this will definitely be the bigger thing to watch throughout this match.
Yeah, definitely. And I'd say out of all the midfielders, Era is probably the worst stinger user between her, between the Juno, between the Amy. So definitely maybe a comp disadvantage we see Best Western not adapting to the starting awakenings.
Yeah, and it definitely could have been maybe more of a comfort thing, but Alpha Kibi gonna show us why this Amy does so much damage and why her glitch pops are pretty terrifying, as Zenith and Marco going at it with the X Maximus. Zenith getting that middle speed, but then walking into the turret and losing his entire health bar, once again showing us Stinger is dealing a lot of damage as Mark XO, lots of love, off the map already. with this Zenith pick, as Zenith now having a core flip is going to get big by that. Oh, Best Jelly popping his core flip, actually managing to get it off before Miragent gets to it. But Miragent going to hit it off the bottom, off the top, doing the Cameron, and ending this round.
The Cameron, huh?
Yeah, so if you don't know, the Cameron is you hit it off the bottom or the top once, and then you hit it to the entire other side.
Whoa.
Because he does it 24/7. Sometimes you do a little double for fun.
Never keep that in mind. Amy noted.
Definitely something that more of an inside thing, but hey, you know, it's okay. We have 20 million inside jokes in the Omega Strikers community. As Alpha Kibi sitting up here is cracked, but the entire side of Best Western, outside of Obscure Breads, is cracked themselves, just showing how strong and prevalent this Stinger is, as Zenith now, without anything, has no dodge, as Mark gonna get one. He's hunting this 2 down, and core flips him. We got a home run right there, sending him right into the net. Gonna get the 1 barrier. Hopefully gonna pick up the 2 here. Obscure Bread's doing the best he can, but it's just him by himself as he loses both of his barriers. And Mark now gonna sit in this frontal position and uses that bull rush forward, knocks Obscure Breads backwards, and then does a nice little hit into the bottom of the net.
Yeah, Marco doing a little bit of cooking. I mean, we saw at the end of there, both forwards from the side of Best Western just staggered, so huge damage differential coming out.
Yeah, and
Oh my god! Whoa!
Speaking of big damage, almost everyone in this game outside of the goalies are both cracked, as every single ability comes out, as Obscure Breads is going to pick himself up the first one of the game. Oh, as that tornado coming out from Miragent actually saves his life, as Mark, being staggered, gets sent back by it. Best Jelly is going to use the core flip here, going to send him in the center, and whoa! We got a BOGO bundle jump scare, as Obscure Breads gets both of those barriers with that center part, but now has to fight against Mark sitting in between all 3 of his teammates, including himself, as Best Jelly now going to hit this one forward, misses the Giga Blast, he's going to rocket forward, and Obscure Breads saying, hey, what are you doing in my net, is going to core flip him off the map, and now Miragent and Zenith able to cook here. Zenith needs to get this one from Miragent, is going to continue hitting the top corner, as that glitch pop is actually really good, saving that one from going forward. Maybe Best Jelly getting put in a tough position, as Alpha Kibi just trying to not die to this core flip from Zenith, as he is still staggered, as Best Jelly using that Giga Blast, and wow, Miragent's health was full, and now it is cracked. As Zenith now with Miragent to Zenith gonna get hit with that barrage. Best Jelly doing the best job that he can, and is gonna strike shot that one. Miragent hitting that one into the bottom corner. Mark now having this forward for his team. Alpha Kibi blinking forward, managing to crack Zenith. The Best Jelly using the Giga Blast, and Marco XO, lots of love, emphasis on it. Does a little bit of bell ringer, and it hits that one off that bottom corner and right up that diagonal wall into the net.
Oh, and extra special on the table for whoever wants to take it. I bet Alpha Kibi would probably like it. It probably is pretty good. Maybe might opt in for aerials instead. Whoa, missile propulsion.
Now, if extra special makes its way to okay. Now I was gonna say, you really don't want that to fall to Zenith, because extra special on X will give that X ult advantage on every single round start. So I like the pickup from it on Kai. Anything else you like here?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I like it, but an interesting from Mark with the twin drives. I mean, I feel like every character can use twin drives kind of okay, but it seems like it's the weakest on X, given that it's its weakest ability.
Yeah, and Obscure Breads is dropping a little slime happy with the little I don't even know what they're called.
The party blavo or whatever.
Party blavo, yeah, dropped a little party blavo as he did shove Mark into the back of his net. As Best Jelly now here, he's gonna try and get this one forward. Zenith using that bell ringer to keep it back on the other side. Mark gonna pop his ult, but he's staggered along with Alpha Kibi. Miragent, I do believe, witching beam to Mark into that barrier, and he was able to get it for himself. As Mark fighting for his life here, getting thrown around by every single ability. Now he's small, and now he gets hit by the tornado, the strike shot into the bell ringer. Dear God, he is He's going through it right now as Best Jelly does have the core flip here. Mirajin gonna lose all of his HP in 2 seconds to that turret. Best Jelly throwing the Giga Blast onto Zenith. Zenith does have the core flip here if he does so choose to use it. Best Jelly gonna pop his first. Zenith gonna use that Bell Ringer, trying to get it back. As Zenith just punching Alpha Kibi into the Bull Rush, gets him off the map as now Mark has his ult. And man, everyone in this game is dying as the core flip comes out. And we hold it until the end. Best Jelly throws out the strike too early. Zenith reads it and smacks that one in.
Wow. Yeah, this is a mosh pit. Zenith ending that last goal with a bit of flair. I always love to see it, but it basically every round starts. It feels like both forwards are just running into each other and slamming until someone dies. Which, you know what, we love to see that.
Yeah, speaking of dead, Mirajin already off the map, and it looks like Mark is going to go the way of Mirajin. And one more hit here, there he is, he's off the map. And Zenith, actually, big thing to note, I can't tell if it's Stagger Swagger or Stacks, but...
I believe it's Stacks. I think it's Stacks.
Okay. Man, he is zooming on the map here. Needs to keep them up, though, as long as possible. If he really wants to get that value out of it, especially with something like Stinger. Almost died there to Alpha Kibi. Alpha Kibi picking up that missile propulsion in that last round. Almost able to get that kill with that glitch pop as Obscure Breads is now one shot in his own net. Mark doesn't have any abilities up currently, is going to get the Bell Ringer, but Zenith on the other end cooking, and it cooks himself with that X Maximus into Best Jelly's net. And while they were busy killing Obscure Breads, Zenith scored a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Using the size advantage. I thought he was going to opt into a core flip, but again, he didn't feel like he needs it, which that puts him in a really good situation for potentially the last point of the set.
Yeah, and definitely making a nice turnaround here as Zenith putting in a lot of work with these stacks as he is able to zoom around the map, and Mark opting to sit on Obscure Breads now, but he's low as all get out as Zenith, whoa, Best Jelly using core flip a little too early there on almost nothing as Mark is kind of just trying to do whatever he can to get this core forward, but Zenith is just sitting on Best Jelly now, able to get that barrier. And look how fast he is on the map as he is running around and getting speeded by Mirajin too, as Mark trying to keep this one back, and Zenith trying to clear up from Best Jelly there. The Magic Maelstrom coming through from Mirajin as Mark now staggered, now smalled. The Giga Blast coming through from Best Jelly. Back to Best Jelly to Marco, and Marco hitting that one forward, does have the core flip if he so desires, almost dies as his teammate Alpha Kibi gone off the other side of the map, almost dies to the tornado, but gets killed by the X Maximus. And now Mirajin, whoa! Back to Zenith to Mirajin to the wall, and Zenith opting not to use the core flip. Bit of a could have scored, but hey, you know what? Whoa! As Marco pops the X Maximus, hits Zenith with his full core flip off the edge, gets that one, and ooh, almost secures the round. The Giga Blast coming through, not gonna get anything from it. Put Obscure Breads in a little bit of a scary spot. Best Jelly missing the core with that barrage. Hits a little bit of Mirajin though as Mark, his entire HP goes from 100 to 0, and Obscure Breads too busy trying to hit Mark, and they could have scored a little bit ago, but turns around in the favor of OTKU Hideout.
Yeah, I feel like Mirajin might have panicked and passed back for fun. I'm not entirely sure what the comms were looking like, but looks like OTKU Hideout able to take advantage of that as they get a McDouble. Oh my god!
They get a McDouble into getting a goal as Mark, with the help of Alpha Kibi, pops his X Maximus and just, you know, size strike war win against Obscure Breads.
Yeah, and just like that, we have a set point yet again.
Yeah, and Mirajin is taking so much damage. Look at him, he's already dead! He was full HP, got hit with everything pretty much in the game as Alpha Kibi with this missile propulsion is doing so much damage. Mark probably gonna have to pop his core flip, doesn't use it. Instead, Zenith sends him off the map, punishing him for not choosing to evade as Alpha Kibi low as well now. And Zenith, oh my, you lose so much health from the Stinger, and he got hit with just the core flip, is gonna manage to get one barrier before he gets taken off the map from Mark and Alpha Kibi combined. As Mark now wanting to sit on Obscure Breads. Doesn't really have the speed to do it. Does have two Bull Rushes. Uses both of them on Obscure Bread. Obscure Bread's a little bit low. Does have the core flip here. Is going to be able to grab this orb. But no! Alpha Kibi dropping the Firewall Sentry, hitting Obscure Breads into his own net for sitting on top of that orb as Mark dropping the Bell Ringer. Manages to get that barrier and shoves it through, and this set could have been ended with one strike from Best Western.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what was happening with their passing plays, but you know what is happening is that it looks like Adrenaline Rush is the infinite training of the
Oh,
evening.
whoa.
And we'll see who opts into it. I mean, Quick Strikes is up for the X. Ooh, Marco actually, or Mark XO, lots of love, emphasis on lots of love, opting into the specialized training over Quick Strikes, actually. Bit interesting of a pick, but it looks like there's surprisingly few Adrenaline Rushes. Maybe the era taking Unstoppable or Bulk Up potentially even. As we go into our final set, Quick Strike's actually happening. Okay, and so it looks like we do have one Adrenaline Rush from Zenith coming out. And that guy is going to schmoove with his stacks if he ever does proc it.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is Zenith opting not to take heavy impact, even though I feel like he is hitting people multiple times. But you know what? He might get value out of that Adrenaline Rush with that stacks. As Miragen getting that bottom barrier, Mark managing to pick off Miragen is going to go super zoom, not from Adrenaline Rush, but just from the middle speed. As Mark now staggered. Alpha BB dropping that Firewall Sentry is going to not be able to get that top barrier. Ooh, but Obscure Breads fighting for his life here, as Zenith is going to pop that Adrenaline Rush. Here he is speed, misses the Bell Ringer as Mark trying to live here, and Miragen getting a free strike war win on Best Jelly and picking up a point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we saw there the power of Adrenaline Rush, especially in a matchup where people are kind of flying off the shelves and able to proc that pretty easily. And a help coming out from Miragen. I wonder what's going on in their oh
Whoa!
My god!
And Mark picking up 2 kills instantly off that round start with a little bit of help from Alpha Kibi, but especially help from the specialized training that he picked up in that last carousel, as Obscure Breads now low has to fight off an entire army by himself. Best Jelly has everything in his kit here now, as Obscure Breads is cracked. Mark, all he needs to do is really just wait for his ult cooldown. Might not have it right now though. He's going to try and use the Bell Ringer. Obscure Breads is going to be unstaggered, but if Mark gets his ultimate, it's going to be really precarious for Obscure Breads. As Zenith actually pops his, almost gets Alpha Kibi off the map, and manages to do it as Mark manages to kill Miragen. And now Zenith, with this Adrenaline Rush, is going to get one barrier, not able to get the other, but does have the core flip here, pops it. Best Jelly strikes a little too early, Zenith able to get that one. Best Jelly throws the Giga Blast into Alpha Kibi, Cyber Swipe, as now Best Jelly with the strike shot back to Alpha Kibi, and Zenith doing a great job here in the forefront as Mark pops his core flip right to Obscure Breads. And oh my god, Best Jelly saves Mark from dying, but it's not enough, as Zenith now with the full Adrenaline Rush is going to just sit in front of them. But the core is going so fast, and the big Bull Rush comes through and even sends him into the net with it.
Yeah, and absolutely good coordination between Miragen and Zenith, actually getting the bigger hitbox for Zenith so that he hits harder and is more likely to hit the core with it. Good coordination. We actually saw that I believe from Corey and Leo Leon a lot in CCC land. They've practiced that matchup quite a bit, but it's really, really interesting to see here coming up from Best Western.
Yeah, now Market with the Bell Ringer with this Firewall Sentry holds it, and Obscure Breads thinking he's going to hit it towards the bottom. Instead opts otherwise, as Miragen off the map once again due to this Amy. Such a devastating big combo, and the Cyber Swipe almost killing the Zenith. Now with Mark, excellent elusive to keep himself alive, and Zenith with these stacks doesn't want to lose him. Look how fast he is running with this aerospeed. He doesn't even have an Adrenaline Rush. Imagine if he did, especially throws the Giga Blast, and now Mark in a really dangerous situation. But Miragen's the one in a dangerous situation, especially sends him from the middle of the field all the way to the other, and Zenith now with the core flip wants to get something done. Maybe he's able to get a bit of a Bell Ringer, but no, Obscure Bread's going to Giga Blast him, but Alpha Kibi going to pick up another kill for himself as Best Jelly hits this one forward to Marco, and Obscure Bread's going to pop the core flip. Best Jelly popping his own, going to get the barrier back to Alpha Kibi, and now Mark in a great space. Nothing really coming of it, but the Giga Blast forward through the barrage. Mark taking a bit of the barrage. I don't even know. I believe the core just went through the barrage there, as the space in between them, it was not close enough. And Best Jelly with the Giga Blast of a lifetime, saving his team from getting sent back to the carousel.
Oof, yeah, and maybe we have another reverse sweep on the horizon as we get into the third point of the set, or the fourth point of the set. We'll see if one thing of note is that Zenith did lose his stacks in the last engagement, I believe, so they might be on the back foot for a little bit until he gets it back.
Stacks or not, sitting in front of this net is going to get that top barrier as Alpha Kibi now staggered. Really has to try and play his life. As Zenith is going to look for it, and there's the adrenaline part. He is Car as Merc going to pop his core flip, and somehow doesn't get the core flip through, as I believe the Magic Maelstrom from Miragent is able to push him off of it as the Giga Beast comes through from Best Jelly. And there's the Cyber Swipe from Alpha Kibi, sending Zenith off the map. And now Mark, with a lot in his toolkit, is going to use this Bell Ringer. Not going to get anything out of it as his Obscure Breads being a little fast as Miragent now pretty low. Mark staggered as Alpha Kibi setting this one up top, but Zenith once again going to get another Adrenaline Rush proc. Is going to be big by the Bewitching Beam as this core does go forward, and Zenith going to win the strike shot against Best Jelly. Best Jelly does have his core flip here if he so chooses it, and the Bell Ringer sending that one backwards, and ooh, a nice barrage from Best Jelly to keep that one out of his net, as now Mark sits in front with the Specialized, is going to pop the X Maximus, is sitting on top of Obscure Breads. Obscure Breads is going to get that one with the strike shot, as now Best Jelly barraging up to the top. And this round has gone on for longer than you would think, but now Zenith ooh, hits it onto that bottom corner just outside of the core flip from Best Jelly, and we are back to the carousel in this match.
Yeah, and we're gonna see what Zenith gets to roll today. I think so many of the damage ratings have already come out. We'll see what comes in. Chrono Boost, Big Fish, Stagger Swagger all on the table. Tempo Swing actually might be a bit of a sleeper strong pick here, but we'll see what comes out. Stagger Swagger, obviously a very, very good choice. You're staggered a lot. You're going to swag around a lot, you know, because you're running really fast. That was an awful thing. I'm never going to say that again. Super Surge coming out from Alpha Kibi, able to help with those confirms. Big Fish coming out from Miragent, able to survive and also use that extra size advantage to potentially win Strike Wars. Same thing comes out from Mark XO. Lots of love, emphasis on lots of love. And I'm not sure what to think of Tempo Swing, actually. It seems like all the players left it up. It did receive a buff in the latest micro patch, so value of it goes up a little bit, but I guess teams aren't really valuing it very high.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is how Tempo Swing interacts with damage over time abilities, such as Stinger, such as Stifling Wand. It procs on every part of the dot. So if you're, if you're Mark and you are playing your life half the game, because you don't want to die to Zenith, give him a Dren Rush. Honestly, might have been a great pickup, but instead opting for something else. Big Fish, from what I understand, might be more useful. Who knows? As Alpha Kibi is going to get hit by Zenith, popping the X Maximus is going to shove him off, and then Mark trying to beat the crap out of Breads, but Mark, your goalie is getting 1v1 by Zenith. Zenith with that Adren Rush into the Bull Rush into the bottom of the net.
Yeah, and my God, I mean, we saw there the stacks at Adrenaline Rush. He was able to reposition basically no matter what. Nothing Best Jelly could really do. He was going to lose whatever Strike War was about to come his way.
Yeah, and that stacks plus Stagger Swagger plus Adrenaline Rush. My God, is he moving. And he gets to soak up all the damage in the game, all he wants. It is ridiculous. Look how fast he's moving. Plus he has an arrow to give him speed and make him bigger. I can't imagine anything like more you would want as an X in this situation. Maybe if you had gotten Specialized, but that one went to Mark. Mark showing us why he is Specialized is going to pick up a kill on Obscure Breads, but Zenith once again with the Adrenaline Rush, the stacks, he is moving the entire map in 2 seconds. I don't even know if he's playing Omega Strikers at this point. He might be playing some sort of racing game, and we are all on the wrong side of this. As Mark now with the core flip, it doesn't matter as he does get knocked off the map. Zenith getting another Adrenaline Rush, and Miragent with the core flip is going to send this one past Best Jelly and pick up another point towards this reverse sweep. Hordes picking this up for his team and making this a nice 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I definitely smell a reverse sweep coming. That just the speed from Zenith, able to just be everywhere at once while breaking everyone's kneecaps with the punches. I mean, how do you beat that?
You pray.
Yeah.
You do a little bit of praying that you can kill him, because look how fast he is. That's not even with airspeed. He's so fast on this map. I don't even know. I mean, the guy's just playing a racing game. We're out here playing Omega Strikers. This guy's playing Forza Horizons. I guess I signed up for the wrong event. as Zenith once
Oh
again
my
showing us why
god.
he is moving, just is not even like trying to run around the map. He's just moving in place and he's going so far as Alpha QB trying to kill him. Now Mark with the opportunity can't even catch up to him as Zenith now in this top corner is going to get hit by that cyber swipe and now pops his own X Maximus as Mark. Oh my god, and he's just, and now he has the adrenaline rush from that kill on Mark, and he is just ridiculously fast. I can't even comprehend how fast he is. As, ooh, Miragen, a little bit of a miss there, but it's okay because Zenith finds the strike war in between Alpha Kibi and Best Jelly and puts this race to its end as we now go back to another carousel.
Yeah, another MVP coming out from Zenith. I mean, the man is like, it just doesn't even look natural how he's moving. It looks like inertia should catch up with him, but he's not. But I think he's going to pick up the prime time, probably to deny from the enemy Kai. Maybe he might opt in for a build different. Nope, chooses to deny instead. Good pickup. Castellast, though, for this error coming down. Maybe might leave either a build different or Timeless Creator. Yep, Timeless Creator probably being one of Amy's best in slots. We'll see build different coming out for Obscure Breads and peak performance coming out from the side of Marco, getting a little bit of speed himself. Will desperately need it in this final set of week 1 of the NASL.
Yeah, and Mark actually going to get a decent amount of value from that peak performance, considering he does have the big fish already in his wheelhouse. But Zenith, once again, hopefully trying to get a kill on Alpha Kibi, and there he is. Now he is speed as he is running around the map. He doesn't care where the ball goes. He will be there. He will be there
Oh
no
my
matter what,
gosh.
as he is running, zooming, and trying to get this goal, and he shoves Best Jelly into the net. He is there no matter what. You run from him. I mean, you can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we disabled Octavia for the first week here, but it just made Zenith probably proving me wrong. I mean, he looked exactly like an Octavia with like basically full stacks there. He's just running around.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of laughable. It is a little ridiculous how fast he is going, as he does have the core flip here to core flip Mark off the edge, and there it goes as he's now zoomed, but there it is. The creature is dead as Alpha Kibi cyber swipes him off the map. Best Jelly to Alpha Kibi, and now Alpha Kibi gonna throw this Fireball Sentry, just try to keep it forward away from Miragen. And Miragen does have this cast to last and is simply able to work the field. Honestly, as much as Zenith is, as he gets that bottom barrier now, is a little low. Zenith sitting in the center of here, but they do need to get some damage onto these players. Miragen dropping a little bit of a Manka Dubu there, trying to fight for his life, and almost gets sent off as Zenith now just popping his ult, just hitting people for fun, as he wants that damage, as Miragen now playing ping pong. Ooh, almost dies to Best Jelly's, I don't even know what he died to. I looked away for 2 seconds and then he was gone. Almost dies to the barrage. Ooh, Obscure Breads is going to pop that core flip, is going to live, as now Zenith with the adrenaline rock misses his core flip. I think he's going a little too fast. He's trying to keep up. He can't comprehend it himself, as now Mark with the core is going to hit that one to Obscure Breads. Obscure Breads is going to hit that one back with the strike shot. The cyber swipe coming up, and the Fireball Sentry trying to get this one through, but now Zenith with the X Maximus now has the adrenaline rock, is zooming around way too fast for me to comprehend and even keep up with, as it goes to Miragen. Miragen trying to get that one for the Giga Blast from Obscure Breads coming through. Just try to keep it up for his team, but Best Jelly is holding on for his life here as Zenith now low. Oh, and a great elusive from Alpha Kibi, keeping himself alive and not letting him get that adrenaline rush proc again, as Zenith, ooh, well, there he goes. He popped the X Maximus. Nothing you can really do about that. He is Car, he is Zoom, and oh my god, the Magic Maelstrom coming through from Miragen, but OTKU Hideout is holding on. I don't know how, but they have not let this barrier fall. They are using every single one of their abilities, and now Zenith once again is low, is going to get the orb from his own goal, as Obscure Bread's doing a nice job keeping it up for his team, as this one now goes to Alpha Kibi, the Giga Blast coming through, not able to get anything out of it, and Zenith is finally off the board. Now you have those stacks down, as Miragen cracked himself, as Jelly needs to get this one forward to Mark. Mark not able to get it, as this Firewall Sentry does come out. Mark now on this bottom shelf is going to hit it forward. Obscure Bread's going to pop that core flip onto that Pole Rush, as Best Jelly now using the barrage, and Alpha Kibi getting a kill onto Obscure Breads and ending this round that lasted, honestly, way too long than I thought it would.
I didn't even see what he killed him with. What I was even looking. I was looking at the super fast X. And Alpha Kiwi just assassinated Obscure Bit.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Best Jelly with that Deadeye, assassinating Miragen off the map as Zenith now just gonna put some pressure onto Alpha Kiwi. Alpha Kiwi, whoa, almost dies, but now uses that Cyber Swipe to get forward, and Mark pops the X Maximus with that big fish, and bonk, core win in the net.
Yeah, and with that bonk, Mark XO, lots of love, emphasis on lots of love, brings his team to match point, potentially getting the 1-1 tie for his team.
Zenith, no matter how fast he is, can't outrun the fact that he's losing his barriers right now, as he just really can't keep up with the damage that Alpha Kibi and Mark are putting onto Miragen. They're doing a great job focusing Miragen down, but Zenith now with the core flip here is probably going to pop it. Decides not to, actually, instead maybe opting to get a kill onto Alpha Kibi here. Alpha Kibi, no evasive, no nothing, and ooh, barely manages to live. There's a Cyber Swipe coming out, and then the glitch pop, and once again, Miragen off the map. No adrenaline rush from Zenith, as he almost gets one, as Mark does a great job there holding it, and now is in the position to cook. Doesn't really get anything out of it, and here it is, and the full rush through with that Cyber Swipe, and OTKU Hideout pick one up in a game where we thought it was pretty much over with Carman.
And you know what they say, he was cooking there, but he was making a bit of a home-style meal. And you know what makes the difference between home-style and restaurant cooking? Lots of love. Lots of love. Yeah, there he is. Yep.
I like
and
that.
Yeah, super great. 7 goals out from the side of Zenith. Match going actually above Marco's 5, but Marco able to sink it in. I mean, look at the number of redirects actually from Obscure Breads and Best Jelly, almost cracking the 300 meter for both of them. Absolutely, actually pretty crazy game coming out. Oh, and 26 KOs also from the side of Zenith. Good lord, whoa, Jesus, that was a stellar performance from pretty much every player on the map, and I think it definitely came down, I think, to the damage potential of Marco and Alpha Kibi versus Zenith and Miragen. Stinger just not being able to be applied as much, and even though Carman could go run around and kill everyone himself, I mean, Marco and Best Jelly were able to, in a lot of situations, either snipe Miragen in Obscure Breads off the map and convert it into a win. So with that, OTKU Hideout and Best Western will be ending the series tied, 1 point for each of them in their advancement towards playoffs.
Yeah, and again, I think a lot of that big damage correlation comes out from the fact that if you're picking Era in that type of game, and obviously you don't know what the Awakenings are going to be, right? But Stinger start, you know it's probably going to be some sort of bloodbath, and you get to the point where, it kind of wraps into this whole situation of who can kill one or the other. The Era is going to be great for that early game, because you might be able to get some speed gaps, some nice, fun, big bull rushes through the net. But come late game, that Amy is outputting the most damage in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we definitely saw that. I mean, even 1 point being scored just straight up because Alpha Kibi just, shot Obscure Breads in the face and killed him on the spot, just jump scare. But yeah, we'll definitely see how OTKU Hideout match up with other teams in the coming day. This being even taking up one game is a little bit of an upset, taking it off of Best Western and invite the team to the league.